clearly quite a few counters left if they still wanted to go for it. And maybe because it is most likely going to be a 4-position Phoenix, they look for a carry that self-dispels, maybe the Kosabile Jug, even though I feel like that's not the direction they would go. That could be why they're maybe avoiding the Wraith King if they decide not to go for it. But at the same time, this has been quite the gamble in the Phoenix pick. And with no setup, usually with the Phoenix pick, we want another hero that's going to keep them around, keep them as the target to kind of peel them off. And Gyro
Okay.
is the pickup. Well, that's the carry that does damage off of the egg with the cleave from the flat cannon, but these are some really kind of resurrected heroes here. No one giving any attention to these boys for a very, very long time.
And there was a certain amount of that we expected to come around eventually, right, with the new patch, but it's all sort of hitting us at once with some of these picks, and it does make for an interesting scenario. It's just, well, you don't know exactly where the floor is for some of these heroes right now because the patch is so new. Obviously, there is strength in almost every hero, but how reliable they will be is going to be the concern here, especially on that lava side. I'm not sure now what the Phoenix does other than just generally be sad about its situation, but that does clear lava up to go for their own carry as they will get their hands on the troll, a hero that we have seen a couple of times, ET. The results have been a little mixed, but more and more teams trying to get back on the troll warlord train here.
Yeah, and really all I want to see from Lava now is just the prerequisite bans. Ban out the Razor, maybe even think about banning out the OD. Just don't let your troll get kited, as we've seen already. The troll kind of falls victim to, but at the same time, troll versus gyro is a fantastic matchup for troll. It's just honestly one of the matchups where gyro feels absolutely helpless. You really can't itemize or fix anything about it. You just need to be overwhelmingly ahead of the troll, or having your teammates kind of help you during the an interstice when you could possibly die, and that's the Razor ban. Very appropriate, just in case they do some shenanigans with the lane setup. But at the same time, I've not been 100% sold. Everybody's trying it out. Everybody's seeing if it works, and it definitely will feel pretty good in this game. Not to mention classic counter versus Beastmaster, right? Man's got Boars, man's a melee hero. You've got the whirling axes. It's very obnoxious to deal with. Not to mention, you can actually nuke down the Boars pretty easily with the ranged whirling axes. But at the same time, there's always just that concern of you pop BKB, you pop Battle Trance, and then you immediately get Primal Roared, and then everybody runs away. And I think that's where Lava, they still need a hero to keep everybody around. Troll is not someone, he might be there to take a lot of the aggro from your opponents, and maybe that's enough space for the egg, but they don't have a hard stun. They really don't have any stun, to be honest. And they need, I think, a big AoE spell, someone to team fight, and that's where For Zoomers very appropriately ban out the Tidehunter, because that's exactly what Lava need. And I think that's where they think it's going to be a Leo-style Death Prophet mid. I kind of agree at this point, just because of how much they're lacking in Disable. I don't think any other hero Leo-style plays can really solve their issue, but do they reach for something more single target like the Legion Commander? We're kind of running out of good offlaners at this point.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem. If you swing the Death Prophet mid, you can go for an offlaner with maybe more lockdown, but a lot of those options are already gone. So yeah, I don't really know. It's just a matter of, if you put the Death Prophet in your offlane role, then you don't have a lot of mid laners who provide you with that same lockdown. So the pool is just kind of narrowed regardless of what Lava are trying to do here. They might just have to pick their poison, but the good news for them is they do have the last pick. So whatever they do decide to go with, it's going to be something that 4 Zoomers are not going to be able to fully prepare for. But I kind of scratching your head thinking of what hero for Lava fills all of the needs that they have. I think they're only going to be able to get some of them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about ways that they could fudge it, but it's just nothing feels honestly too great, because if they do force Frank to play the Death Prophet, and he has before, then you've got a Death Prophet Phoenix lane, then that doesn't feel too strong. You've got a double ranged off lane, and then maybe you pick up a hero like the Puck for Leo style, and then you actually have a hero to make him stick around. But at the same time, I'm just a little concerned. And okay, I'm assuming that's, let me think for a second,
Yeah, hold
actually.
on a second.
Is it going to be a Gunner Snapfire? It could also be a Gunner Gyrocopter and then a Costabile Weaver, but
Hmm.
that's an interesting pickup. I know that Husky's Enchantress, and I know that Moo's Beastmaster, but everyone else is kind of a toss-up.
Yeah, I mean, from what we've seen previously, it feels like the Weaver really should just slot into that 4 role. That's where he's been played every time we've seen it, really. I mean, I think there's been some players in pubs experimenting with Weaver in more of a core position, but I think experimenting is the sort of crucial word there. I'm not sure it's ready to be thrown out in a pro match as Lava. Okay, you mentioned maybe they switch things up, go for single target. That is going to be the play. So LC in the off lane, that puts Leo style mid on the Death Prophet. And what is the answer lineup wise for
it is
four
going to be
Zoomers?
Gunner Gyro.
Okay.
Gunner Gyro, Costabile, Weaver. And I mean, this ignores the troll matchup, right? Your carry now is the unkiteable. You are going to be running circles around the troll warlord, which is why that hero became incredibly popular in the carry position when heroes like Troll and Ursa were kind of the alma maters. But at the same time, I'm a little bit concerned because now the Legion feels a lot better, to be honest, because not only do you fix up that offlane problem you had where now you don't have a double range setup, you actually have a big beefy boy to do it, but Frank also has incredibly good solo kill potential on Costabile, and that's always what you're looking for when you pick up that Legion commander. If Legion can just play in a side lane by himself and then suddenly pick off your carry, that's a threat that Costabile has to live with pretty much throughout the entirety of this game. At the same time, now Gunner isn't on the most adept hero for making these rotations. He really has to be careful because now you have to play kind of this style where you're running at your opponents, you're showing up to every fight, and you could very easily fall behind a player like Leo style who is playing that same style but is just on a better hero for it. So I think now you really have to be concerned with how Zoomers set the pace of this game because they start falling behind, and then I think Lava can start to pick around at the edges and then kind of ignore them. At the same time, Moot Beastmaster, always a treat to see. We'll have to see if he's able to take over this game and kind of become the monster we know him to be. But at the same time, this kind of a last-minute carry swap-up is definitely throwing a wrench into the works.
Yeah, I think that is something. We're talking so much about the Weaver and the Gyrocopter. That is maybe doing a bit of a disservice to Moo. He is capable on the Beastmaster of just playing well enough to maybe eliminate some of those concerns, but putting Frank on this LC definitely puts him in a stronger position if he gets that duel down. The Weaver, neither the Weaver nor the Gyro are really ever going to be massively tanky. Even when the Gyrocopter's built up, a lot of his durability comes from just having, in some instances, stupid amounts of lifesteal with something like a Satanic. So we'll see. For now, though, Frank is in a bit of a bad way. He is running from 5 as that homing missile did connect, but no one on 4 Zoomers is quite fast enough to catch up.
Oh, they will just walk away, but at the same time, that's 2 5-man smokes just trying to get, if anything, I want to say vision down, and this ward will get placed pretty deep into the 4 Zoomers jungle, but the 4 Zoomers, in an effort to meet them, haven't placed anything of their own. I'm interested to see where Z-Freak ends up putting his ward, if we just see it on the infamous spot, or even make it its way all the way over to the cliff. Though we've seen most teams on Radiant actually be prepared for that ward being placed up. But it looks like maybe we see a little bit of a clash here. But it's so hard to take this Radiant bounty room away from the safe laner now. You really kind of just have to settle at this point. Even though I think they stole one.
They did indeed. 3 of the 4 to Lava, and well, Frank, I mean, he took a lot of damage for it, but going to be able to get himself a bit of an advantage there. And I do want to say, well, so much for that. Wanted to say about that ward, always interesting to see that ward giving you more vision over the jungle as opposed to the high ground that gets you a little bit more over the water line. So they were really trying to get vision in that jungle with a Gyrocopter and honestly even the Weaver a little bit. In the lineup, you got to worry about maybe some of those stacks getting, or camps getting stacked up. So Lava wanted that vision. Husky kind of just sees that coming though, and he's able to throw it on the sentry, gets it away. There's no more vision. There's no more possibility of blocking it. See Kim. He's going to be able to pull that creep wave away. Unfortunately, yeah, Frank losing his courier. Husky's able to get in there to snipe it out, and now what shenanigans are we going to get with the wave here? Oh, none. Okay. Pulls it off cleanly. Gets that creep wave all the way across. Bring it under tower. Husky's maybe going to be able to get 1 or 2 right clicks in onto the ogre, but it's an ogre. He's going to just shake that off pretty much instantly.
Yeah, unfortunately, Kim did lose out on the range creep there. Still got the XP for it, but just isn't able to keep it alive. But did get the half pull off, so he's going to be really obnoxious here. But Husky, a studious Enchantress player, yeah, he's got the obnoxious creep. Of course, they picked this ogre and they even set it as the 4 position, I think, very interestingly, just because, A, you got countered. There is a snap in this game, but also, wait a second, Gunner's getting super pressured up mid. Jeez.
Pushed back pretty significantly, yeah, and Leo style, well, I mean, that would be fantastic. If you can just dominate this lane against Gunner. He's already on a hero in the gyrocopter that is not really a playmaker, not a very dynamic option, so you would assume the fallback plan would be, if you're not making moves, you're just going to try and farm as much as you can, and if Leo style can slow that up, then maybe the timing for 4 Zoomers gets sort of thrown out of alignment just that little bit, but now, well, timing's a little bit off there. They do send the homing missile in, both of the supports that sort of come over to try and guarantee the water runes, but it's just going to be the runes. No real potential to go in for the kill there.
No, definitely not. And honestly, something that really still amazes me to this day is how Husky is still able to kind of get everything he wants out of his lanes no matter what. He just always feels like he's never the one put on the back, but even though his camps are highly contested, even though he's always run around the map, he's still always just doing his job. He's just a really magnificent player.
You know what you're going to get from Husky. That's always the thing, right? He's just so incredibly consistent. Maybe he's not going to be, you know, someone who fills up the stat sheet, but he knows what he needs to do. And speaking of knowing what they need to do, Kataro and Katyu, they go all the way in on a Z-Free. Kataro got dangerously low there with the tower shots even coming into play. But yeah, Moon Knight die as well. One more hit is what I was going to say, but I think he's got enough regen. Yeah, he will survive the DOT. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Kosable strikes, gets the first kill on the board for the 4 Zoomers side, but first blood goes to lava.
Yep, and really nice to actually give that first blood over to the bottom lane. It's either more resources or more mana over to Kataro, and once he gets phase boots, it's actually very difficult for Mu to ever be left alone, so Z-Freak's gonna kind of have to stay attached here with him for quite a while here, and of course, you kind of hate that as the Beastmaster just because you're always looking for your level 5, and, well,
He's gonna take the fight, they get the root, Mu's in trouble, he's throwing out the axes, just trying to do what damage he can as Kataro, look at that, sidestepping the stun. That does mean he had to step away from Mu, but Katyu's got it going on, he's gonna be able to find the kill, Z-Freak now low as well, and, well, the aggression backfires for 4 Zoomers. They thought they could get in there, maybe split up that duo a little bit, and to a certain extent they succeed, but the split then has to be followed by damage, and that damage was not enough. Kataro was low, but sticks it out, gets the kills, and now this offlane gets even more complicated for 4 Zoomers.
Yeah, just really playing their advantage well. It's why they picked the Troll, is to just give them this big advantage early on in the laning stage. And of course, your Beastmaster, you will recover once you get your Helm of the Dominator. There's never, or rather, there's always an exit strategy for you. It just kind of sucks that the Troll is the one getting the early lead.
All the heroes where you really don't want to give them any sort of early bump. That's a hero kind of at the top of that list, but we'll see what 4 Zoomers can do. Husky got into the jungle, has himself a Centaur, so could potentially look for the wraparound mid. Homing missile into Centaur Stomp is the lockdown, but the question is, does Gunner have the damage? 3 points up in the Rocket Barrage makes me think maybe. But they've got to time this out perfectly. There's going to be the missile coming in. The Centaur has to wait just a moment. Kim, though, coming in trying to help out, but there's really not much he can do. He can slow, he can stun, but he can't really stop the damage. Leo style gets taken down. Now Kim may fall as well. Gunner, with that Rocket Barrage, is really just chunking that ogre down. They have any means of actually catching up, though. This Centaur has to hit the Stomp, but if it goes for it, I think it might be out of range. So, looks like Kim's going to be able to make it out of here safely. They were chasing for quite a while onto the tier 2, but they'll give up the chase in the end, and honestly, they got the kill that they wanted in the first place. They took Leo style down first. That was the most important aspect of that rotation, and they made it happen.
Yeah, and really, again, praise to Husky. He's very subtle with his rotations. He actually smoked all the way to get over there, but at the same time, it worked. It looked really nice, and once Gunner's level 6, he can actually make up a lot of the farm that he kind of has been losing out on just because Leo style has that more efficient spell in the Crypt Swarm to push out the waves, and looks like it's going to be a battle for the rune. 5 heroes, and Leo style will get a nice arcane rune pocketed.
Fill up that bottle, and now we'll see where these supports actually go. Both Kim and Katyu were sort of hanging out around that middle lane. Phoenix making his way back down bot, but the problem is Kataro, left alone in that lane, did take a pretty sizable amount of damage. As Katyu... Actually, no, he doesn't really have any sort of significant healing, so it really is just the wand and now the Ring of Health being delivered, but that means Kitaro has to maybe take a step back for a little bit while he heals up.
Yeah, and it's why I think Husky rotated it out of his lane so early, is just because he knows that he can still be strong here, but
Husky.
now level 6, I think he's just dead.
Oh,
Knockback.
there's the Wild Wing. Okay. Good play there with the Hurricane, changed from that Tornado in the newest patch, but Kim is still kind of hot on Husky's tail, but not able to get that Fire Blast off. He tried for it, but Husky was able to get out of range in time, so Wild Wing Ripper, excuse me, saves the day and keeps Husky safe as Leo style. Man, no cancel for that TP. Snapfire able to get away in the east side jungle, but we're seeing a lot of movement now, not just the supports. The cores are starting to sort of shift around a little bit, and, well, not all of those maneuvers are really all that successful. So for these heroes moving about, they're sacrificing a little bit of farming time, not really coming up with much in exchange.
Nope, definitely not. But now that Leo Style's level 6, we'll see, I think, a pretty early, might even be an early exorcism here. He wants to put pressure onto Gunner, and especially this mid-tier 1, and that's where this is such a common rotation for Lava. They always bring both supports into the mid lane, try to get a nice easy kill onto the mid laner, and then push in towards that tier 1. But at the same time, 4 Zoomers are really ready for this, and he does pop it at the end of his Arcane Rune, so it's going to be a short cooldown on that exorcism, but honestly, I feel like 4 Zoomers are going to be able to deal with this, especially if they get a creep on Husky. Just put it in front of the tower, and Leo Style's play is pretty much dead here. Does get a DD, but don't think he really has the firepower. They're going to try for it anyway, though.
They're bringing Frank over, so maybe if they can get the duel, he has it available, but by this point, you're going to be out of time on your exorcism before you get that duel off, so this is looking very funky, but they are going to go in for it. Gunner's going to be the one hit up by the duel. The Cookie actually pushing him away. It's not going to be enough, though. Frank still gets the win. And now, if you're 4 Zoomers, do you really want this? Cosable did try to push in, but he loses almost half of his HP right at the start. And Leo Style still going. Misses with the Crypt Storm, though, and he's actually going to pay for this. That was a deep dive to not get the kill. And you lose Gunner, but getting Leo Style in exchange. All the while, since they dove that far, Tier 1 Tower did not take any extra damage from that push.
Yeah, and honestly, really sad to see. That was such a tight line that Frank had to really take to find that duel somehow onto Gunner, but at the same time, kind of throw it away a little bit, just a little bit. But at the very least, you did drag the Weaver out of his lane, so just means less pressure on Kitaro. And
slow this kill. There we go. They will get it. Husky taken down, but open the top lane. Frank suddenly has to deal with a couple more heroes than he thought, but look at the duel coming in. Leo Style arrives in time. That's another win, and another win onto Gunner as well. So plus 20 now for Frank, and 2 deaths on the board for the Gyrocopter. And now, Z-Freak,
Well,
whoops. Frank is starting to get it going here. 2-0-1 now on the Legion. As we said, 2 duel wins, and that kill completely clears the path top. So Leo Style, Exorcism didn't really do what he wanted in the middle lane, but it sure as hell will get him the tower top.
yeah, and this is exactly what you want from your Legion commander. He's snowballing out of control. He's 300 gold away from his Blank Dagger, and then that's the threat I was discussing about in drafts, about where suddenly that Blank Dagger's online. Costabile can't really show in lanes by himself, and then it's all going to be about his reaction time with his Shikuchi to keep him alive. Otherwise, he's a pretty free pick, all things considered, until he gets a few more items. You know, they did have to use the Exorcism top, so we're not going to see immediate pressure with the 10-minute card on the tier 1 mid, but still, I feel like finding a way for Gunner to actually get into this game is kind of difficult. And you see in his item build, he's just going immediately for the BKB. He's not really playing around here, but definitely not the most fun item build I've ever seen a Gyro go for. Just knowing that he needs it to survive, but at the same time, you're also going to be Treads BKB on Gyro. It's just kind of an ugly build-up that you never really want to be forced to go for, but I guess he feels like he has to.
Yeah, I mean, durability is going to be a concern for him, but it comes at the expense of damage, and at that point, you start looking towards maybe some of the other cores, what they're working with. Casabile's got a Falcon Blade and working towards a Maelstrom, so maybe he'll be able to pick up the slack on that front, but overall, for Zoomers, they'll be more durable, but I don't know if they'll have the full power they need to punch through some of these opposing heroes, because the Lava lineup is going to be durable. We mentioned concerns about the Phoenix and the Supernova, but You will pop that. Everyone will have to focus you down. You've got an LC with a nearly maxed out press the attack, and obviously Leo Style and the Death Prophet's going to be hard to bring down in general. So without the extra damage from the Gyrocopter, it could get a little bit dicey for them, and it may be a reason for Four Zoomers to kind of sidestep some of these major fights entirely. Really just try and focus on their farm right now, and if they do that, then you look to Lava. How much more pressure can you put on the map once this Exorcism is back up?
Yeah, and we saw with their smoke just now for Zoomers, they tried for maybe the poke play. They had already gotten the bottom tier 1, so it's the very natural rotation from the Beastmaster to collapse on that mid tier 1. But they kind of got cold feet. Gunner doesn't feel comfortable crossing the river, and they didn't know about the Blink Dagger on Frank, and he's still hiding it currently. They're probably going to look for a smoke play pretty soon here, if not getting scouted out by this nice deep Hawk, which might scout out a smoke rotation if they do try to go for it in the river. But they've got to be pretty tight here with their line. TP rotations are pretty nice from Four Zoomers, and at the same time, they kind of have to deal with their creep waves right now. I think Lava, they're going to dive deep in here, and I don't even think they're going to be looking for Moo, but they'll take him if they can find him. And this is really unfortunate. Well,
yep, there it is. The duel comes out. They need a little bit more damage, though. They're not going to get the duel win. Still get the kill, though, as Kim is going to be the one to grab that. They'll clean up the creeps as well, so that's a bit unfortunate if you're Frank, missing that win, but a very important pickoff. Speaking of important pickoffs, so Kataro, he is all alone in the top lane, tries to TP out. Did not have the mana for Battle Trance, and he was only a couple hundred away from finishing the Battle Fury, so that is a really critical kill for Four Zoomers to get at that moment.
yeah, it's definitely a diff that smarts, but at the same time, I feel a little bit bad for Gunner. All these kills happening across the map, and he's not really able to get involved in any of them, even though he is doing his job. He's the sentry of the mid tower. He's not really been under too much pressure from his opponents either. And really, the nicest thing about this lineup for Four Zoomers that they're playing against is that whenever the duel's off cooldown, it's really difficult for Lava to make a play. They don't really have anyone to kind of just go in. So whenever duel is on CD, everybody gets to relax for another 60 seconds until duel is back up, and then everybody needs to play a little bit more carefully. But at the same time, Costabile is very, very farm for this stage of the game. Already has his Maelstrom. I can only imagine we're going to see him get involved in these fights, and should get involved in this mid fight, because he's right here. He's right in the northern jungle. So if they do go in for the Tower of the Exorcism, we're going to see a 5-minute response from Four Zoomers.
And bringing all 5 may just be enough for them to really take a fight definitively, especially if you're Lava. You've got Kataro hanging out all the way down bot, so this is going to be a bit of a risk, but they pop the Exorcism. They're going to try for it, but the Glyph is really going to slow this down. The creep wave gets wiped out in the meantime, and here comes Gustavo looking for the angle.
Oh, no.
Okay, no angle. He gets detected instead. They hit him up with the duel. They get the win and the kill. Mortimer Kisses are coming through, though, quite nicely. Mood now deploying the Roar. They're going to try for Leo Style, but they just don't have the damage. The Supernova was going on the backline. Gunner's now going to get stunned up and taken down as Katyu gets that kill. Husky dropping low as well. Can he somehow get away? No. The DOT finishes him off. Moo, meanwhile, was tracked down to the north as Leo Style finds that kill. And, well, when we were talking about Four Zoomers bringing 5 to that fight, ET, we were sort of talking about it like a positive, but that is a just horrible handling of that scenario. They get nothing. They lose every single player who was in that engagement, and now their tower is going to go down as well.
Yeah, and really, it all comes down to this sentry right here. It spotted the Weaver walking down, getting on top of Kim. I really don't think they expected it, and because of that, they didn't respect it. They had this entire cliff warded up. They had all of the vision in the world. That's why Costabile feels so comfortable with the Shikuchi as close as he was to his opponents, but then Frank is just way too quick on the draw. I honestly don't think they were expecting it. Even Moo, I think, being a little bit too far away, because they were expecting that fight to be directed on the tower, but then when they jump Costabile going for the backline, it just gets so far out of their reach that they really aren't able to kind of keep up with their opponents, where Lava got the exact fight that they wanted. And even though the tower push kind of succeeding that doesn't happen really that quickly because the Exorcism was already spent, it happens regardless, and Kataro's farming during all of that time, getting his Battle Fury and farming with the Battle Fury, so it's honestly a major, major loss.
Yeah, I mean, that was supposed to be your moment, right? To really turn the tide, take a fight around your tier 1 and try and swing momentum. Instead, you fall further behind and you lose a fight to a lineup that didn't even have their carry there. Now Kataro, he's going to push into the Roche pit. This is a little bit risky. There's enough heroes here for 4 Zoomers where they could detect this is going down. And is the roar back up? Yes, it is. They've got the roar, they've got the call down, so they could give this a go. And yeah, Lava now realizing that they're going to show a little bit of respect to that team fight power.
Yeah, and clip boarded up though.
Frank says respect nothing. They're going in for the kill, looking for the dual win. Gonna be able to get it. As Moo goes down, Z-Freak cleaned up as well. Kim somehow snags both of those kills. So it's a double kill for your Ogre of all people. But at this point, Lava, they may not be done. Look at Husky and Gunner. They're behind enemy lines here. They need some way back onto their own half of the map, especially with Moo actually buying back into the fight. They want to try and go again. Hello. Hi there, folks. Not a big deal. Just a brief power outage. Oh my goodness. Okay, sorry. I just had to reset everything. But I believe we are back. ET, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Let me get back over here. Apologies, folks, but yeah, I just straight up lost power in my house. That was not good, but we are back. I am so sorry again. I know that was not ideal. We were sort of in the middle of something, but we are back into it now, and it doesn't look like the momentum had shifted all that much, ET. Still Lava very much ahead.
Yeah, really, all you missed is after a nail-biting endeavor into the Roche pit, after a few pickoffs on specifically Moo and Husky, they were actually able to get the Aegis up onto Kataro. Preceding that, they had a few engagements where they were smoking into the enemy jungle. 4 Zoomers defended their triangle, albeit at a heavy cost, losing pretty much everyone aside from Costa Bile. Still working towards a few of their items here. No BKB built up by Costa Bile or Gunner, and that's where we're at.
Well, appreciate the recap. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. That was a straight up power outage. I have never been rebooting my stuff as quickly as we did just then, but did not miss out on too much. Again, apologies, but we're back into it. So yeah, yesterday we were having internet problems. Today it was just power, so we should be all good to go unless something knocks us out again. Fingers crossed. But Lava now looking for, well, at this point, ET, an opportunity to maybe just kind of put this one away. They've still got the Aegis for 55, and they just need their opening right now. But well, if you're 4 Zoomers, I don't really think you want to walk headfirst into that fight until well after that Aegis has expired.
Nope, definitely not. And that's where I think 4 Zoomers have had to really take a step back. One of the big differences that Lava have kind of shifted in their gameplay is because they've been cutting so deep into 4 Zoomers territory, into their triangle, they have really stopped any escape for Moo to actually break in towards that bottom lane. And because of that, the Beastmaster has really fallen by the wayside. Net worth-wise, really all the cores on 4 Zoomers have fallen by the wayside. And unfortunately for them, it just means that they don't really have what it takes to take a convincing fight, where on Lava's side, they've got dual scepters, they have BKBs, they've really got all of these items to kind of even out the fights. Moo's even just finished a Midas of all things. So really, I think the big difference right now is just having these completed items, and fine with the BKB on Gunner, they're going, but okay.
Can they actually get this kill, though? Frank is still not down. He's actually going to pop a duel. That may not have been the best of ideas, as he will lose said duel. Gunner be able to get the win there, but now look at this. All 5 heroes, they're corralled into the woods. Kataro's going to pop the ult, looking to push his way forward. Gunner gets taken down. Now they're on the Kosabile as well, and that Weaver not going to be able to get himself out. Second kill on the board. They're looking for even more, though, as Z-Freak, he's getting pushed back. Moo is going to look for the TP, and oh, no. Yeah, that fear really ruins everything, and Husky's gonna die as well. Kataro had no HP.
Oh, the Aegis had just expired. That was his kill. That was it right there. That was a something, a return, hope, but everything just turns around. That is brutal, but yet again, man, this Death Prophet hero just does so much damage. He's just honestly 1v4ing for his entire team, and they just have to run. They cannot deal with him. With the silence coming through, post BKB, they're so helpless, and there is no dispel. There's just nothing in sight for 4 Zoomers.
I mean, this is just looking so rough for them, and yeah, as you said, this Death Prophet with the shard, I mean, you can't be on the front line anymore. The heroes that you want up there are just going to get hit by that siphon, and they either run or they stay and they're feared and they end up running anyway because of the fear. So, oh man, I don't know. You mentioned earlier sort of BKBs would need to be important. They are starting to get them up and running now as they were completed, but now you've got the BKBs. Cool. Now it's about when you use them, because once that magic immunity is up, lava can just kind of run at you.
Yeah, and the other problem is just damage. Is they weren't able to snowball in. Okay, you got the dive bombs. Mood stopped along his way to get the ag shard, but there's no Helm of the Overlord. There's really nothing. The prioritization has not been there for their heroes. Now we're then I think unfortunately Husky he's running. He's doing his best.
They got the duel. Locking him down. Kataro comes in with the ult for the kill. They get the win and the kill. Gunner is still trying to fight though on the backline, but again, that BKB is going to start to wear off. He's in some trouble. The Supernova is going to come out. Gunner just has to run for his life. He's not going to make it, and the GG will be called for Zoomers. Just getting run over in game one.
Just absolutely brutal. And again, it came back towards that period where suddenly they just don't finish their items. They really just weren't able to finish any of their timings because as soon as they got that Aegis, Lava decided to run in behind them. Again, cut off every single route to the creep waves. This is the poorest I think I've ever seen Moo in a Beastmaster game. He was just unable to, again, be the hero that he's kind of known for, and he is fantastic at what he does, but I think that's where Lava just did their homework. They played so adept versus it. Not to mention, I think Frank's Legion Commander pick was just perfect. You took a lineup that had no lockdown. You had the perfect lockdown for dealing with Costabile's hero, while at the same time countering out both the Gyrocopter Missile and the Primal Roar. And then Frank just had a stellar game on top of it. Just way too many things going right for Lava. But on a pretty much individual level, look at their KDAs. Nothing really went wrong. There wasn't a catastrophe that any player kind of had to deal with. Everything just kind of gelled. And for Zoomers at the same time, I think they were a little bit too reactive in their draft here. I think maybe take a step back. I know Gunner is known for his kind of atypical mid laners sometimes. The Brewmaster is the first one that comes to mind, but I think this gyro was not a good look.
Yeah, it ended up not quite developing the way that we were sort of thinking, right? We were talking about, okay, yeah, you have a gyro mid, but now you have a Weaver who's going to be able to run circles around the opposing lineup, and then the LC pick just ruins that, and then now your Gyrocopter mid doesn't actually look very intimidating in the slightest. So if you're 4-Zoomers, maybe something a little bit more conventional for game 2. This experiment does not work out for them, and, well, they suffer a loss. But game 2 is going to be coming up in just a couple of minutes here, so 4-Zoomers will have their shot at revenge. And we'll see if they can salvage a 1-1 split, keep themselves moving up those standings. Meanwhile, for Lava, 1 win in the bag, hoping for 2. They have yet to lose a series in this event. It's been all 2-0s or 1-1s, so they are guaranteed one of those 2 results no matter what. And we'll see if they can keep up this level of play. Very impressive stuff from them as we are moving into the break. So thank you all so much. Appreciate you bearing with me for the power outage there as well. But we are back up and running, and we're moving into game 2 of Lava versus 4-Zoomers in about 10 minutes.